Hey fellow 40k athletes and also fellow hobbyists. Today I want to do a tutorial and maybe some of you are wondering why I'm doing this on English. This has a specific reason because I'm watching so many of these awesome tutorials all over YouTube like midwinter minis and so on, and I just want to give back, which I think is a quite cool technique to make awesome bases if you aren't the best skilled painter, like you're a normal dude just out there having fun with your miniatures, just as I am. So I want to show you how you can turn these black plain bases into something like these. And what we're first going to do is we're going to order, and I've got these from Amazon. These are called tile style decals. So they are supposed to be stickers on tiles in bathrooms and kitchens. And what you can actually do with them is you can cut them with the scissors. They're quite thin. They're actually really just stickers, and you cut them into your sizes, just roughly shaped, and you glue them on. And yeah, you put some texture on it. We're going to use some washes. We're going to use some pigment powders. Sounds fancy, but really, if I can do it, you can definitely do it. So let's get cracking. Alright, so you've got your plain bases. Make sure they're clean, and the rough texture on the base helps us actually to settle down the glue with the stickers. And we want to transform this one into roughly shaped these ones. I'm going to use these for my Votan Dwarven army because I think they're still dwarves even in the future. They are digging holes and and gonna be in their mountains and stuff, but they will have super nice floors. Okay, so after you have cut these tile papers and you get them for like 10 well, here you call them euros, about £10 on Amazon, and you've got loads and loads of them. You can also use that same technique for terrain. I'm going to use regular super glue here and make sure that the sticker fits all over the base. It does. Even if it doesn't and there's a little bit open, we can still hide that with the texture that we're going to use later on. Going to use quite a lot here, and this glue especially works really good because you can use the tip of the glue to evenly spread out wherever you want it, and make sure that the edge has enough glue. Otherwise it will peel off, which happened to me quite often. And if you're scared of super glue sometimes, just use gloves for this step. Okay, the middle isn't that important, but the edges definitely are. So then we're going to use our sticker, peel it off. Just going to make sure everything is covered here, and sometimes even a little bit of super glue will spread out of the corners. You can really rough it down really hard, make sure you've got a good contact with everything. And if you press hard enough, you can see the edge of the base shining a little bit through here. So this works perfect. Alright, now you're going to set this one aside. Just going to use like a big book. Oh, maybe this one, and place it aside, put the book on top, just so it has a little bit more weight. And I'm going to do the same with the other two bases. I've already got my shapes cut out, and I'm going to speed this video up so you're not getting bored.
Save my soul. Winner.
3 bases ready and the stickers glued on. Now the next step is we're going to trim the bases and cut off the excess from the stickers. Make sure to use a fresh blade on your hobby knife. My hobby knife is from one of our sponsors, PK Pro. Visit them for their awesome tools. This is a really lightweight knife. Yeah, so another boring step, probably going to just fast forward. Make sure to get the right angle and just place the blade next to the, or just lay it down, and as soon as you have one cut, it actually runs through really smooth. And make sure you're going in a cutting motion, up or down. You can even make a stop, but every time you make a stop, like I'm gonna just make one here, you're gonna have like a small edge that you can see, but you can rough that up because we're going for a battle damage or battlefield kind of look. So yeah, no worries. And sometimes you will also, because your edge is really sharp, or your blade, you will cut into the base itself, but hey, don't worry, a little bit of black paint and that's gone anyway. If you've used too much glue, then you will see that the sticker came a little bit up and it's really strong on this side. You can still cut through the glue, but make sure to maybe do that at the latest step, otherwise your blade will get really dull if you cut through the super glue. So just go for this. I want to save my soul. Okay, after applying the small little stone stands, or whatever you want to call them, it's time to get some terrain on there to actually not have a totally flat base. What I'm going to use is rough terrain neutral texture from AK. This needs a little bit of drying, so I let it dry normally for around a day. So we're going to see you tomorrow, I guess, after they have dried. Okay, we are back, and one weekend later, had really long drying time, and one tournament later, we can now start by priming the rough terrain texture. For this, I'm just using an airbrush, and also for the priming, you can actually use your rattle can. And just to make sure that you use something to cover the sticker, like blue tag or anything else, masking tape even. And don't worry, if you have some kind of overspray, that's why I'm not even bothering. If you're an experienced airbrush sprayer, then don't worry at all. If you have some black outlines around the rough texture, it's actually creating more shadows than we want to. We're going to start by just priming it in black. After that, we're going to give it some highlight spots with just a couple of grey tones, to lighten it up again and let everything come together. I'm not giving you the noise of the airbrush, so enjoy a little bit of speed painting. So after applying the black, I'm just going to use, as I said, one of the grey tones. This is called Somber Grey, but please take any lighter colors you actually want. I'm just using the grey tones to symbolize these like rubble spots are from ruin walls. You can also use like brown tones if you want to symbolize any areas, and you can be really sloppy with it because we're doing much more with it. So I'm just going to do some highlight spots, and yeah, you will see the result afterwards. And this is literally nearly like all I'm going for, and then go in with the light grey over these spots in the middle just to catch some light. And after that we're going to apply a dry brush. I know Mohawk Miniatures, for example, cheers mate, he doesn't like applying the dry brush. I do like the look of it, and there's so many different ways to do this hobby. Might as well just finish these bases as I talk. And yeah, so feel free to use any terrain technique or painting technique that you like. Okay, now that we've got some definition on there about heights and stuff like that, we are going to do a quick dry brush. And the dry brush I'm using is Ultron Grey because it's really just a darker off-white. And what I do like about the Ultron Grey is that after a wash, it still pops out nice and doesn't change too much. So just cover a light dry brush over all. Here you can make sure to create even more shadows if you're going just at the edges, so the dark and the dry brush really meet up, and yeah, everything will blend in together in the end, you will see. And first, if you use texture paint, it tends to like look, I would say, kind of round or piled up, like not normal. But as soon as you do a dry brush, you see there's way more structure than at first glance without any paint on it. Yeah, so that's my dry brush. Okay, just finished our dry brush. Now I'm going to add some pigments, and for these pigments provided by PK Pro, they just are a brown color pigment to bring in some warmth, because I think the dwarf really like this warm nature around, and you just want to be careful not overloading everything. So I'm first trying to stipple down some of the pigments in various spots. Just to make sure not taking too much. Now I will randomly in small circle motions blend it in with all of the rubble. It might seem and not like a lot, but in the end it does make a big change. If you heard some snoring in the background, that was my dog. I'm going to use another brown. This one is a really dark brown. It's nearly a black, and it creates some shadows within the brown and grey area. So you take some mid-light areas where you want to apply it, but you really have to be careful with that one, because you can see the black spots immediately. So you have to make sure to spread it around. It's like you could call it a dry wash. And then for the last part, I could turn them around so you can see the different ranges. Maybe, don't know if the camera catches this. This is more of a sandy brown. We're not going for that one. This is more of a red brown, like a burnt umber brown, and this will be like the middle range. And this one we're just going to use a little bit more than the other two. Kind of gives us the base brownish range, where the base should, or the rubble and everything should blend together. And speaking of blending together, after that we will mix ourselves like a little wash, and after that we're just going to varnish and we are complete. So last brown, and now you can see everything is changing and kind of gives us an atmosphere where we're at with the rubble. You can always go back and take some of it away or blow it away. Really like this part. Could have been a little bit more dry brushing on that part. But yeah, there's so many different ways to go now with your base from here on. You could go for like maybe a wooden theme or an overgrown theme that trees and plants catch over, and you do some roots and some other elements. Or you could go with the snow theme, literally anything really. Now I'm going to use a brown from AK Interactive. It's one of the new third generation colors. This is called British Khaki Brown. It's a base color. They are really transparent, and first of all, when I use this paint just normally by a brush, I thought, well, it's not covering really good, and you need a lot of paint or a lot of paint to even cover. That may be a bit much, but we'll see. But what I did find out then, they are really good in creating a wash. Yeah. I'm just going to fill this up with water. And give it a little mix. Oh, just hit our base there, which is okay, because it's going to get washed anyway. It's absolutely fine. I'm going to mix this color. So what I wanted to say is it tends to be really transparent, and it's actually really good for airbrushing and for making these kind of washes. So now I'm going around the edges first. I know this part maybe has to be redone with the edge highlight, but yeah, we'll come back to that later. And so first I was really careful with this wash, and then I went ham, like complete. So what I do is I just cover the whole base. After it dries,
it tints everything, like the tiles, it tints it like in the little brown and dirt, and it feels after it dries that everything belonged together and everything came from the right place. You know what I mean? Like the stickers are really glowy anyway, and they feel like a little bit compared with a decal straight out of the box, just glued on a miniature. It just doesn't feel good. So that's why people do a I don't know what that is. Well, let's remove it really quickly. Yeah. So people do a matte varnish over the decal and blend it in. And this is basically the same. To blend the sticker and the environment together, we're giving everything a wash. And we just have to make sure that it's really, really watery, and also that it's the really transparent paint, so it's actually a wash. I have no idea how it would turn out if we just would use Agrex Earth Shade, or like Agrex Earth Shade really dried down. But now you can see really the difference. This is way more dirtier. If you like this look, you can leave out the wash or just go for the edges and then varnish everything in a matte. If you do like the shiny effect on it, you can keep the shiny effect, of course. One thing that I want to mention that I actually forgot now to do is to airbrush the base rim, or at least paint the base rim. Normally you do that one of the last steps. Here I like using it or do it way earlier, because the cutted edge of the sticker is like popping out white, and before I have an accident with an airbrush or yada yada yada, I do like to do that first and just spray paint everything from the side in black, so you don't see the cutted edge of the sticker. Yeah, that's the wash. You see, while I was talking, I was producing way too much, so I'm gonna do that in a little spare bottle. And now we have to let everything sit and dry for, yeah, maybe a good hour. After that, I will have a look if we have to redo this area, maybe, or maybe not. And then we should have something similar to this base. After it's matte varnished, of course, to stay protected. See you in a bit. Okay, so the wash is all set. It dried really good, and it also already made it quite matte, but we're still gonna varnish afterwards. You can see at the sides there's some leftover from the glue, and also there is the white edge I was talking about. So a good matte black airbrush from the side will help in both problems, and also gives a really clean edge. Also transfers to yeah, inside the to keep it a little bit more dark in the outside rim. Yeah, so as you probably can tell, on the bottom one I've got the white edge from the cut, and up here with a nice clean black base rim. Probably needs a second coat. Yeah, you're all set to go. So this is the final step. Yeah, there you have it. That was my first tutorial into how to turn bases into something special. Still got one base to do, but here you can really see the difference without the pigments and without the wash. It kind of looks out of place. Also, when you hold it together, or like in an angle, you can see the varnish is missing, which I applied off cam. Sorry for that. But I think you know how to apply a varnish. And also without the wash, it just seem to be too clear. So this is a really dark base, which I do like. Maybe I'm gonna wash these one more time because they turned out a little bit lighter than these one. But in the end, I'm really happy with these results. It's a really easy job to do, and the result is just, I love it. So thank you very much, and please tell me in the comments if you would like to have more tutorials like these and what I can improve. And yeah, thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Normal, befeuern Bolter wie ein Spaceman. Danach wechseln wir, entspannen dir, sort of. Du kannst machen, was du willst, wir killen Screen. Kings of the Hill, kommen nicht mit Warmish.